This might be one of the most fucked up stories I've ever seen in the time that I've streamed politics on my channel. This is way more fucked than any of you are expecting it's going to be. As many of you may know, ever since Trump took office, well, frankly, since Trump has been able to appoint a Supreme Court of majority Republican MAGA supporters, there has been this heavy lean towards states deciding whether or not abortion or any form of contraception or, pregnancy, terminating process is legal. No matter what circumstance, it is up to the state whether or not they allow it. And this has meant a lot of deaths, like a lot of horrific, preventable deaths have come out of this. Doctors afraid to stop, women from bleeding to death due to ectopic pregnancies because they're afraid whatever they do to save the woman could terminate the fetus, and thus they could become a felon, lose their medical license, end up in jail. There has been some horror stories to come out of this fact, and Georgia is a great example of a state that has instituted some very, very strict anti-abortion laws. And this has led to a story that somehow beats out all of the rest. Apparently a lot of you guys already know about this one, but I swear to God, this is some shit straight out of Death Stranding. A pregnant woman who has apparently long been declared brain dead is being kept alive on life support in order to act as an incubator for her fetus due to the fact that Georgia does not allow pregnancies after a certain, I think it's like 9 weeks, to be terminated. She is literally brain dead and is being used as an incubator in order to carry this child to term. And now that might not sound too fucked up. Okay, well, what were the mother's wishes? What's going on? The thing about it is that the child has apparently already been declared unviable. So it's very unlikely that the child is going to even be born alive or live more than a day outside the womb. It could very much end up being a premature or very late birth. There's likely going to be a lot of complications, and it's probably just not going to go well. This is, at least based on what many are saying, particularly doctors, whose opinions I value the most out of everyone talking about this, have been saying this is cruel and unusual. Emphasis on the unusual part. I only know a few details of the situation, but I know enough to know this is beyond fucked. So let's learn some more, huh? Let's expose ourselves to horrors beyond human comprehension that somehow the Republicans continue to devise.
Year-old Adriana Smith was about 9 weeks pregnant when she started having bad headaches in February.
Enough to know that something was wrong.
April Newkirk says her daughter went to Northside Hospital for help.
They gave her some medication, but they didn't do any tests. They didn't do any CT scans. If they did, they would have caught it.
The next morning, Adriana's boyfriend noticed something was terribly wrong.
She was gasping for air in her sleep, gargling. More than likely it was blood. She was taking...
Sounds like rabies. Like, just out of nowhere, you don't know why, your head is like pounding and you can't breathe and you're like thirsty and gargling in your sleep. So I read a post recently about how horrific dying of rabies is, and that's what it's making me think of. I hope that's not what it was, because that shit will in fact leave you brain dead. That is how it kills you, is it makes you brain dead.
It's at Emory, Decatur, and then she was transferred here
to Emory University Hospital, where Adriana worked as an RN. Unfortunately, there was nothing doctors could do.
They did a CT scan and she had blood clots all in her head. So they had asked me if they could do a procedure to relieve them, and I said yes. And then they called me back and they said that they couldn't do it.
Doctors declared
she got killed by a series of strokes then. What the fuck happened to her? Like, I know that's not the topic of the video, but now I'm like, what the fuck happened? Why did this 30-year-old have a series of aneurysms and strokes and die? or I guess become brain dead. Like, this is a 30-year-old whose mom is there talking about it. Like, this is a you know, a presumably healthy woman whose mom now is going to have to bury her 30-year-old child who just died. I mean, that alone is so fucking tragic. You think it could be pregnancy that could have caused it? That's definitely possible. Pregnancy definitely isn't like a normal state for the body to be in, you know? It could be pregnancy complications. Yeah, I hadn't considered that. I had a stroke at 26, but luckily it didn't kill me. Fuck, that's scary. Jesus. Whew.
Declared Adriana brain dead.
I feel as if somebody dropped the ball at the hospitals, and her boyfriend asked, please keep her. If she was kept at the hospital, we wouldn't be here.
Because of Georgia's heartbeat bill, which bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, her family says they weren't given any say in what happens next.
It's torture for me. I come here and I see my daughter breathing by the ventilator, but she's not there. And I'm touching her. And she has a son who I bring to see her.
Now, 21 weeks pregnant, her baby's health uncertain.
She's pregnant with my grandson, but my grandson may be blind, may not be able to walk, wheelchair bound.
So, for those that don't know, the like a fetus or a developed, like a nearly baby, you know, like 9 months in, we're talking, like up to that point, there is a blood transfer, like a direct blood transfer between the mother and the child for nutrients and whatnot. And so I can only assume if the mother died of numerous blood clots, like aneurysms and strokes, that would presumably also affect the baby. There's no reason to assume not, because effectively the baby's circulatory system is more or less connected to and part of the mother's. That baby won't be surviving past 18 hours. Very true. Like, the people are right to assume that the pregnancy is not going to end up being viable much longer. And this is the tragedy, is I think they have to continue paying for the hospital bills to keep her on life support, right? Because it's illegal to take her off life support while she has that fetus in her. And so now it's a situation where they have to continue paying for something they don't even want, because it's just such a tragedy. That's what I heard. I don't know if the state would be paying for all this, right? Like, I'm pretty sure it would have to be them. I see no reason why the Republicans would have written it into the law that the state or anything else would cover this situation financially. I think they're just locked in, like pretty much a ransom of go to prison or continue paying these medical bills, or just go into medical debt because the doctors can't take her off life support. So it's just going to be unpaid bills stacking up. Now the state won't be covering the family. The family is literally being forced to pay this debt. That's what I assume, because why would Republicans ever think to do something good or kind?
We don't know if he'll live once she has him.
A situation she says no one should be forced into.
It should have been left up to the family, because I'm in my 50s, her dad is in his 50s, so we're going to have the responsibility with her partner to raise her sons, you know? And I'm not saying that we would have chose to terminate her pregnancy. What I'm saying is we should have had a choice. We should have had a choice.
Thanks for watching.
I can absolutely see the right trying to argue, I thought it was my body, my choice. Why do the parents get to decide now? I could absolutely see the right going down that road. 100%. 100%. Do we have more statements from the family? Are there any, like, updates from the family? That's what I'm most interested in. Holy crap, Snopes gives you a lot of pop-ups when you don't have an account on their site. If you have the capacity for pregnancy, you are not a person to them, Valenti said in the video. You are a vessel, you are an incubator, but you are most certainly not a human being because you don't treat human beings like this.
Tonight, a Metro Atlanta mother lies brain dead in a hospital room, being kept alive only because she's pregnant.
This story is doing numbers, it seems. People are talking about this, and that's a good thing. It really goes to show why leaving these policies up to the states is not a good thing, because a lot of people don't necessarily want to have to follow politics or move to a different state because of politics, right? The same people who complain about politics in their video game will say, just move if you don't like who's in charge of your state. And it's like, no, people should be allowed to live their lives without caring about politics. And I know that sounds stupid, but no, I do think that's fair. I think the left needs to start advocating for that. That people, particularly minorities who are constantly inundated in harassment and, policies that are meant to put them down, should be able to live their lives without having to worry about politics. That is the goal. That is the goal. For people to just be able to enjoy their lives and not worry about it. And that is what the right is entirely against. They're all about just fucking with people. All the while, they're claiming they're the party of less government. Yep. Entirely hypocritical.
Try to calm down before I made this video, but it is really clear to me that that's just not going to happen. How many different ways can they prove to us that they do not see us as human beings? If you have the capacity for pregnancy, you are not a person to them. You are a vessel, you are an incubator, but you are most certainly not a human being because you don't treat human beings like this. You don't even treat fucking corpses like this. Corpses have...
Keep in mind, they've got a lot of flowery language for how they explain this away, though. The right loves to mystify the idea of motherhood. And the problem with why that works is that mothers like that stuff. When the right says stuff like, motherhood is the most beautiful thing ever, being a mother is actually the biggest accomplishment of all time, why would you want to go to... Why women wanting to go work and pursue schooling and stuff, they're actually stopping themselves from doing the biggest, most amazing accomplishment any woman can achieve, which is raising a child, you know? And I'm not going to take away the accomplishment of being a parent, right? Whenever someone in my chat talks about how they're a parent, it's always like, wow, that's so cool that, like, people like who watch me are like parents. It's just neat, you know? There's something about that just feels validating, I guess. People who've gone through that level of life experience and whatnot find value in what I have to say. But, like, you know, there's this weird cultiness. Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Cultiness around particularly motherhood that the right tries to push in order to romanticize their dehumanization of women. And it actually gets a fair amount of what we think of as conservative women on board with these ideas, believing that the left is politically opposed to what they have been convinced is the biggest accomplishment a woman can make. And it's easy to believe that rhetoric, by the way, if you are already a mother, if you're like some conservative, like, or not even conservative, but if you're just some like middle of the road, like middle class, like housewife or something, if that's like a big part of your identity, it's really easy to get suckered into the right-wing rhetoric about how being a pregnant trad wife is such a big accomplishment because it validates what they're already doing. It makes them feel good about the life they're already living. And so as much as this may seem like a blatant show of how much the right does not view women as people, and it is that, don't make no mistake, the right has all sorts of clever ways to make this look flowery and just to flower up their language and make this all go away.
More rights than a pregnant person.
Oh,
in these
I didn't know that, Aimway. A reminder that the Nazis literally had medals awarded for motherhood. No, I'm not joking. That does not surprise me, actually. It's a culty idea.
Abortion bans. This is a nightmare. How many lives are they going to destroy? How many families are they going to devastate? This young woman's mother talks about going to visit her daughter and how she is being tortured, how she sees her daughter breathing, but her daughter's not really there. This is torture. And if you voted for this and you continue to vote for this, you are a monster.
But also, you're retarded. Especially if you're a woman who votes for this, you're retarded. Like, you don't want to end up in one of these situations. Like, most of the women who are voting for this type of policy think that it will never affect them. They're the type of people who think of a policy that, under certain circumstances, could absolutely affect them, and nonetheless they think, yeah, but, you know, not me, though. I'm special. It'll never impact me. A lot of people think that way. A lot of people think they're special snowflakes, even if they don't admit it to themselves. And that, I think, has a big bearing on politics. That's something you really got to remember, is no one sees themselves as part of a group. No member of MAGA or the online left sees itself as part of a group. Everyone thinks they're this super special snowflake individual, especially when it comes to their opinions and their political values. I promise you, you're not. You aren't. But the fact that so many people feel that way, and the right especially validates that idea in people, resonates a lot. And so it allows them to talk away. I apologize, I had to burp. It allows them to talk away stories like this and make them disappear in the cultural mindset. Like, people aren't going to be talking about this in, God, a week from now, people won't be talking about this. And that's what's so sad to me. That's part of how politics got this cooked, is that no one cares about this stuff. And man, I gotta say, it definitely does make me pretty stressed out. The internet obviously exacerbates things, and you know, that goes without saying, but still, I do think that this is a mainly real life problem, right? Like, this is an electoral problem. This is a mainstream media and who's being reached and who's feeling motivated to get out there and make their voices heard in the ballot box issue. I believe you, Aimway. I believe you. I don't need proof. But I listen, Aimway, I saw it in a dream, so I already know it's true. But listen, okay? Thank you so much, as always, though, for watching this far, if you did. I know this was a tough topic, so if you watched this far and you want to let me know that you managed to ride it out to the end, then please leave a comment down below that says Death Stranding, because if you've played Death Stranding, you know exactly why this story made me think of that. Anyway, comment Death Stranding down below if you if you enjoyed this segment, I suppose, and watched this far. And leave a comment of anything you want to as well. It doesn't have to just be Death Stranding, but include that in the comment if you watched this far, so I know that you did. It's a cool little game we play. Regardless, though, also leave a like if you want to support the channel on top of that, and maybe even subscribe and ring the bell icon so that YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos. And of course, in the future, if you want to see more from me on other platforms, you can follow my social medias, linked down below in the description, especially my fan Discord, as it is the main hub of my community and fan base, and if you haven't already hopped in there, then you're missing a lot. I host gaming events, watch parties, and call-in streams there as well, so make sure you tune in, and hopefully I'll see you there. In fact, what day is it? Is today watch party day? Ooh, yesterday was. Holy crap, I didn't even realize that. I was so busy. So it looks like tonight, after stream, we'll be watch partying. Hot damn, I think we'll be doing Baki, and yeah, I think we'll be watch partying Baki, and I'll be working out once again, because it's my workout day. So that's going to be pretty pog. Yeah, we're going to be watch partying Baki. So hop into the Discord if you haven't already. It's going to be a great time. And if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall Studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website to someone else, or just leaving a nice comment. It really does warm my heart. It does help a lot. It helps me keep the lights on and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall Studio. Not the comments, but the donos do. I do appreciate it. And of course, you can also support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or you can support me by buying some custom Xander Hall merch, if that suits your fancy, through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me, though, thank you so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.